Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. I have the biggest grind of the day yet. This is justice on full blast. Makes me want to switch my horn. We'll tell you more right after a short pause. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Cut me off in the drive-thru? Good luck placing your order. I drove an old sedan when I was a teen. When the horn stopped making any sound above a dry wheeze, I went to the auto parts store to replace it. To my delight, the only horn available was a two-tone air horn like the ones on semi-trucks. I loved it because it confused the ever-loving crap out of people. I would honk and they'd go crazy whipping their heads around looking for the 18-wheeler. Nope, it was little old me and my dinky little Honda Accord you just cut off, jerkface. One day, I pulled up to the end of a long line of cars at my favorite drive-thru burger joint. I waited many long, hungry minutes for the several cars ahead of me to order. The last one had moved up. I was taking my foot off the brake, ready to finally make it around that last bend to the menu kiosk and place my order for my juicy, delicious burger, when a car came hauling butt through the parking lot, screeching to a halt to edge in line ahead of me. I wasn't moving at breakneck speed, but I wasn't making room for another car, and there was clearly a line. At least one more car sat waiting behind me. There's no way she didn't know what she was doing. I honked a couple times, "You jerk!" Thing is, once you get around that corner where the menu board order kiosk thingy is, you're stuck in that lane. You can't pull around the cars in front of you, and you can't back up if there's someone behind you. Then realized that this a-hole might get her lunch before me, but she also couldn't go anywhere. I pressed the horn and didn't let go. People walking out of the front door saw me holding down this veritable foghorn at full blast and howling with laughter. It was fantastic. She leaned as far as she could out the window, but she couldn't get her order through until she opened her car door, stepped out, leaned over, and got her face a couple of inches from the intercom, yelling at the top of her lungs. I gleefully watched her struggle. She didn't even turn to look at me. She knew what she did, and she knew she effing deserved it. Eventually, the line moved again, and I got to place my order. I also made sure I got off the horn when the person behind me pulled up to the kiosk and rolled down their window to order. But otherwise, I was blasting it until she drove off, which she did at the same pace she arrived, tires screeching. Had a good laugh about it with the guy at the window, enjoyed the bejesus out of that burger. To this day, I get a justice boner thinking about it. Good mod, that was satisfying. And our second story. Can you please host me for the night? I have nowhere to go. About 2 years ago, I broke up with my then girlfriend. She was a horrible, toxic person with some good qualities thrown in too. The breakup was long and arduous, as I was too kind to just end it. She barely had any friends left, was depressed, and I thought I would be a good person if I supported her until she regains her footing after our breakup, while also making it clear that she needs other support too, like professional therapy. I felt too much pity and way more responsibility of her condition than I should have. A grave mistake on my part. Sometimes it was fun hanging out, most of the time not. I was her only friend left, and I think she could not handle she was losing me too. So she liked to pretend like everything was about normal the way it was. This led to a lot of heated arguments, with her expecting certain quality of behavior and putting herself and her needs above my real friends, sometimes even above myself. One night broke in semblance of human relationship we used to have. It was my last day of work before a summer camp where I'm responsible for over a dozen young adults. I drive home from my workplace, and as soon as I park, she calls me. She's crying, saying she missed her bus home and spent all her money on that bus ticket. I tell her that I can give her some money for a new bus ticket. She asks if I can come there to the city center, which is about 30 minutes from my home. I explain I cannot. I have to pack and prepare for the camp. She would have to get here. She had enough money on her public transport card to get here. She comes, asks to use my computer to check the buses. I let her. She says there's no more good buses left. There were some buses left, but either they left too late or took too long. She wants to stay at my place. Again, she starts crying, telling how miserable she is. My heart gets the better of me, and I let her stay. She hugs me and thanks me. Cut to a few hours later, and we're again bickering. I feel she does not appreciate what I'm already doing for her. She feels she deserves more, as we're good friends. She goes to take a shower while I boil some pasta for us. When she comes out, she's furious. She noticed that I boiled macaroni while she apparently said she does not want macaroni. Might be what she said, but I didn't notice. She throws the pasta in the trash and I lose it. We start arguing and I was yelling like I never yelled before, literally. I call her ungrateful. I say that I was supposed to focus on packing because I have to leave early tomorrow morning. She gets mad at herself and me and throws my stuff at me. I say enough is enough and call the police. She gets scared, packs her crap, and leaves crying. I tell the call center lady that she left, no need for patrol. 20 minutes later, she calls me again and again until I pick up. She's sobbing, asks me to come outside. She's scared that the police are here for her. She cries she has no way home anymore, probably true. It's dark outside, also true. I tell her she can go to a hotel, but not good, she has no money. I don't have enough either to pay for her. After a while, I let her in. I tell her no more bullcrap, I still got stuff to do, and I need to go to sleep soon. She can sleep on the couch. She says no. Excuse me? She says her back hurts, she doesn't want to sleep on the couch. She's slept there before, and she's never complained about her back before, but whatever. I'm tired of arguing. I say fine, but she's not sleeping next to me. I say I'll sleep on the couch. So I sleep very badly for a few hours before I wake up, finish packing, and go to my camp. After that night, I lost all my trust in her. I was literally afraid that she'd take a knife from my kitchen and stab me while I'm sleeping over some perceived slight. In the next 6 months, we met twice for some reason. The first time she tried to put on her best behavior. It was fine, but there was no going back for me. The second time we met for goodbyes, I told her I don't want to see her again. She brought me a gift basket and apologized for her behavior. I appreciated the gestures, but I couldn't go back again. No good would come out of it. I haven't seen her since. She texted me a couple of times. I answered briefly. I'm happy I got her out of my life, and I learned a valuable lesson about certain people. I should have done it sooner. It would have been better for both of us. Now I'm in the best relationship I've ever been in, and we're expecting our first child. No idea how she's doing, and I'm planning to keep it that way. Sounds like she has BPD. She needs a few serious years of therapy to figure stuff out. And our next story. Clean the bathroom. This happened several years ago, but I just found this subreddit. I used to be a salesman for Cox Communications Ambassador Program, and I'd have to go into Walmarts and Best Buys and sell cable packages. Of course, my uniform was blue, just like Walmart and Best Buy employee uniforms, and this caused confusion on a regular basis. This was in San Diego, where the Walmarts are horribly ran, so I shopped at Vons and had no clue what the store layout was. So when people asked me where an item was, I always replied, aisle 5. The one thing I know for sure is there were no aisle numbers. Anyways, one day I was working in a Walmart wearing a blue shirt that says Cox, my Cox ID displayed, standing behind a table that says Cox Communications in gigantic font with tons of stuff like stuffed Digimascots and channel lineups, etc. on it. And this guy comes storming out of the bathroom screaming. He comes right up to me and tells me the bathroom is filthy and I need to clean it. I simply said, I don't work here, and showed him my company ID card. So like any insane human being, he says, so what? So you're not going to do anything? I literally told him that he could clean the bathroom if he wanted to. Crazy begets crazy. So he stormed off into the Walmart jungle, never to be seen again. By me. Also, because people would constantly tell me I was the youngest Walmart greeter they'd ever seen, I would regularly greet people with, "Welcome to Target." That got a ton of priceless responses. Walmart, the central gathering place for the craziest of the crazies. And our next story. My contractor was cheap, so I made sure to get my money's worth. So this is actually what happened between my father and the contractor who built his house, my childhood home. In 2000, my parents and their 2 young children, aged 7 and 5, that's me, were looking to move into a house big enough for a family of 4 that they could stay in for a very long time. They found a newly constructed street in a quiet neighborhood in a town known for being family-friendly. It was perfect. There were only 4 available lots, so my mother chose the one she liked best. Now, the houses on these lots were still under construction, so they were mostly just framing at this point, so my parents decided to contact the contractor, let's call him Alfred, to see if they could have any input into the design, as they'd already set up a mortgage agreement on the property.
Alfred agreed, but didn't let them do too much, which wasn't all that bad. My parents were pretty busy trying to sell their old house anyway. A few months go by, and the house is finally ready to be moved into. My parents are thrilled. They finally have their family home. We move in, and everything's great. For about 36 hours. On literal day 2, the furnace in the basement breaks and spews smoke through the whole house, setting off the smoke detectors. The police and fire department show up, investigate, and tell us we can return in 72 hours. So we stay in a nearby hotel for 3 days. Everything's great again, until we start noticing a bunch of small details that Alfred seems to have overlooked. My dad hires a home inspector to look at the house. The inspector finds numerous faults that could cost thousands to fix. My dad is PO'd. So my dad, being the calm a-hole that he is, and I love him for it, decides to get some help in paying for these repairs to his 7-month-old house. You see, Alfred had been the contractor for 4 houses on the street, of which only one, ours, had been bought. So my dad went to the bank and expressed interest in the other lots. He asked that a $1,000 lien be placed on each one. This was all legal. Alfred found out and was rightfully angry. He couldn't sell these lots because of the liens. He asked my dad to remove them. My dad agreed and said he would if Alfred paid for the repairs. Alfred refused to pay, so my dad refused to lift the liens. Alfred then sues my parents. My parents countersue. The court rules in favor of my parents. My dad had to lift his liens, but Alfred had to pay my parents $50,000 instead of paying $2,000 to $3,000 for repairs, and a home inspector looked at the other 3 lots and made him pay for any repairs on them.
And our last story. Bought a house, discovered that our neighbor's house is built on our property. We bought a house plus land in a rural area about 6 months ago. Our county assessor recently noted that our neighbors seem to have built their house and garage primarily on our land, per their land surveys. The lost land for us, with house and barrier-type fencing, seems to be about 0.6 of an acre, or roughly 10% of the land the assessor thinks we own. Per the planning office, the house next to us doesn't exist. They can see the building on Google Maps but have no permits for it. They agree that the buildings and fences seem to be on our property, probably by about 200 to 250 feet, but a surveyor would need to look at it specifically. Since buying the house, we've discovered significant structural and safety issues and have contacted a local real estate lawyer for assistance. We have plenty of emails and a few voice recordings. Thank you, home inspectors, that show that the sellers knew about the structural and safety issues and in one case actively hid them. We'll be requesting some type of remedies for these issues, but we're trying to figure out how bad they are first. Based on neighborhood hearsay and construction similarities, I kind of suspect that the sellers may have agreed to let the neighbors build partially on our land, and it's one thing more they didn't tell us about. We decided to give them a chance and offered to buy a piece of our land. We already have a lot of territory. As for the people we bought the land from, they get away with it. Yeah, I know. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.